Today I'm taking a look at Nights in White Satin by the Moody Blues, of course. It's a beautiful song and it's a fun one to just strum out on acoustic guitar. So before we get into the actual lesson here, I just want to point out something really quick about the track. When you listen to the recording, the acoustic guitar is actually swinging. It's playing a kind of shuffle, which sits kind of oddly in the rest of the track because nothing else about the track is shuffling, okay? But I wanted to point that out. Most people will play it without that shuffle feel, and that's what we'll be doing in this lesson right here, but I did want to point that out. So instead of it just being it has this kind of shuffle feel to it. You get the idea, it's kind of swinging. So I just wanted to point that out. We'll do it straight because that is the way most people will probably choose to play it, and especially if you're trying to sing it at the same time. But I didn't want to leave that stone unturned in case you do want to play it with that feel. So here we go with the actual lesson. So the first chord that we have out the gate is E minor, and you can play that with your two middle fingers or your first two fingers. And we're traveling from E minor to D. And as usual with most of my tutorials, I'll offer up a few cool little embellishments you can add as we progress here. But for now, we just have those two chords with this basic strumming pattern. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. So we're traveling from E minor to D twice, and then we move to C, so we have E minor to D, E minor to D, then C to G to F to E minor again. And you can play the 3-finger G if you want to, any way you like to play it. I like the 4-finger G, it sounds a little bit fuller, okay? So starting with the verse, we have and then we repeat all of that, so that entire section is played twice. So we play that entire part twice, and then we move into the next chord. But here's a cool embellishment that you can add. The second time through, you hear that line on the original recording. And we can play that right there inside the D chord, which I will show you, or you can play it the way I did at the beginning of the video, an octave lower, which I think is easier to get in and out of the chords and sounds nice on acoustic guitar, but I'll offer it up both ways and you can decide for yourself what works for you. But I'll put them both on the screen. The lower octave is played like so. So nice and slow. And you'll go right into your E minor chord, and then the second time, right into the C chord. And again, I think that lower octave works out pretty good, but it's for you to decide. And I use alternate picking for that. That sounds kind of nice. Now playing it inside the D chord, and again you're going to shoot for the chord, but basically it would sound like this. you can see that sounds pretty nice too. So it's a little bit trickier, but either way is fine. So anyway, after we've played that whole section twice, we move to an A major. So you can see I went from A major to C major. And there's that little vocal melody, which I also added as a little bit of an embellishment. When you get to the C chord, you can play, which sounds kind of cool and exotic. And if you want to do that, you just add your pinky to the first string at the 3rd fret. Then remove your ring finger and your pinky and place your ring finger on the 2nd fret on the E string. And what you want to do when you get there and you're strumming that chord is make sure you stay off of the A string or it will sound pretty bad. So that's kind of nice if you want to add that. If not, just stay on the C chord and strum it out, okay? And then you can see I went back to E minor to D twice. And then everything we've done so far is going to be repeated. And again, you'll play all of that twice. But after the second time through, when we come off of the E minor to the D twice, we just park it on the E minor. And you hear that little bass lick right there. So if you want to add that in there, it's 2nd fret D string, 2nd fret A string, 3rd fret E string, and then open. And then we move into the arpeggiated chord part. And for this, I'll show you how I play it. And if you just want to strum the chords out instead, feel free to do that. But if you listen to the recording, there's actually those arpeggiated chords going on. And it's somewhat inconsistent on the recording. I mean, it's sort of like he's just picking away at the chords, but it's not like a solid repetitive pattern. So I'll show you how I choose to play it, and you can incorporate this if you like to, or leave it out. Like I said, just strum the chords instead. But here we go. So those 4 chords are E minor, D, C, and B7, okay? But for this first picking pattern, you can leave out that pinky on the B7 if you want to. Now you'll hear some variations in the recording on the D, like for instance. So feel free to add that into this basic picking pattern that I'll show you. Just the usual messing with the D chord, the pinky on the 3rd fret on the 1st E string. But what I'm doing there is I've got the E minor chord and I'm playing. So I'm using 3 downstrokes followed by 3 upstrokes. Move move to the D chord and employ the same picking pattern, but from the D string. Move to the C chord and stay with the inside 4 strings. And then the same thing for the B7. And you'll play that twice. So let me do it nice and slow. And then we move from E minor to C. And we play those 2 chords twice. Same picking pattern, same thing on the E minor that we did before, starting with the 6th string. Then move to the C chord using the 4 inside strings. Then we move to an A minor chord, and what I like to do on this, we're going to go from A minor to B7. So what I like to do on this one is open up the chords a little bit. So using the same picking pattern, I'm swinging from the 5th string all the way down to the 1st E string, just to start opening things up a bit as you make your way back into the strumming. And then for the B7, we're swinging from the 5th string, of course, but again, all the way to the 1st E string. And you'll play those 2 chords twice as well. And then we start opening it up and bringing the strumming back into play. And when we bring that strumming back into play, we're going to play E minor, D, C, and then E minor to D twice. And then it's back to a verse and playing everything we did earlier on in the lesson. So let's talk about that bridge part. You know how to pick it now if you want to do that, but you can also just strum it. So let's review those chord changes again. So we have E minor to D to C to B7, and we have that twice. We have E minor to C twice. Then we have A minor to B7 twice. And then the part we just spoke about, E minor to D to C, then E minor to D twice. Into the last verse of the song. So like I say, you can pick out those chords with the cross picking, or you can strum them. So playing that whole section strummed would sound like this. Into the last verse of the song. So we head into the last verse of the song, and there's just a little tag that we want to get in there as well. So here's the last verse. So that little tag, you can see you play through the whole verse, the whole first section, I should say, like you usually do. And then you land on that E minor chord and you have this. And you move back to the A chord, okay? So that rhythm is, I play it with down, up, mute, up, down, with mutes in between every two strokes. You can also just go solid downstrokes if you want to, but you still have to mute to make it sound nice and staccato. Then it's back to A, C, and then just E minor to D, and you end it on E minor. Nights in White Satin from the Moody Blues, a really classic tune and really fun to play on acoustic guitar. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and we'll be back with some more stuff soon. Thanks for watching, guys.